Jai Gurudev. Welcome to the 4th edition of the Vedic Wisdom series. Let's start with a Shanti mantra. It is said that peace is essential for knowledge. In a disturbed mind, no knowledge can ever come. So many of us know these Shanti mantras. We'll start with Sahana Vavatu. If you know, chant along. If you don't know, listen along. Let's sit comfortably with our eyes closed. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And if your eyes are still closed, slowly and gradually you may open the eyes. So as usual, we'll take up a few questions from the last edition, and then we'll go on to this time's topic, which is a very interesting topic, Jyotish. So Sajil, any questions?
Yes. So actually, what is the relevance or significance of the Vedangas in modern day life?
What are the significance of Vedangas in modern life? You know, Anga, like we saw last time, represents the limbs, and the limbs help to support the body. And what is this body? This is Veda, or knowledge. Knowledge, or the ability to know our surroundings, our universe, ourself, depends on these 6 aspects called the Vedangas. So if I want to know about anything, then these 6 aspects come to my help. Say for example, I want to know about the environment. Well, to know about the environment, I need to put all this knowledge in some structure. To do that, I need words, I need sentences, I need sounds. And this is what the Vedangas do. They give us the basic raw material for the words, from the words to the sentences, from sentences to the intonation. You know, sometimes we know exactly what to say, but even when we say it, when we express it, people don't understand. There are some speakers, some orators who are very good, and whatever they say, people say, oh, I understood that, it was very nice. But the same words said by someone else, people say, well, I didn't get it. So at a level deeper than words is the intonation or the rhythm. When we go a little deeper than the rhythm, it's all about timing. You might have great rhythm, but if you don't know what to say when, then also it falls flat. In the same way, you might have the right timing, but if the context is wrong, then also things don't make sense. For example, I might be a great technician. I can repair things. But if I am in the middle of a desert where there is nothing, then all of this is of no value. There is a story. Once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away, there was a very learned man. He was very proud of his learning. He said, well, I know everything, I have studied so much. And he was going in the boat. And he struck a conversation with the boatman. The person who was rowing the boat, he was a very simple person. He didn't have a big education. And this man, he said, well, do you know the Vedas? The man said, no, I don't know. The wise man said, the learned man said, well, half of your life is wasted. Then the man again asked, have you learned the Puranas, the Itihasas? The boatman said, no, I just have been so busy rowing my boat, I don't have time for all these things. Oh, another quarter of your life is wasted. Suddenly a storm came and the boat started sinking. And the boatman asked the learned man, do you know swimming? The learned man said, well, I was so busy learning all these things, I never learned swimming. And the boatman said, well, all your life is wasted. So sometimes, if you just know what is the right knowledge at the right time, it has all the value. So all these aspects of our knowledge makes us better communicators. You need to know the right words, the right intonation, the right timing, the right context, and then you become much more effective at your workplace, in relationships, in the whole of life. And so if we just get these principles, then it can help us to live our life better. Whatever we are doing, whether it's relationships, whether it's professional or personal, all of these aspects get enhanced when we attend to these 6 Vedangas in our life. So today we'll take up one of these Vedangas, which is the Jyotish. Jyoti in Sanskrit means light. The Jyotish is often called the eye of the Vedas. The eyes perform the function of seeing or perceiving. In the same way, Jyotish throws light, helps us to perceive that which is not known. So what is Jyotish? Some people consider it, oh, the study of the stars, astrology, predicting the future. There is a lot of science behind Jyotish. Guruji says, astrology is a science, but not all astrologers are scientists. So to be good at Jyotish also requires a little learning, a little skill, and a lot of intuition, spiritual stability, spiritual depth in our consciousness helps Jyotish to flower. Jyotish has 3 major components. The first one is called Ganita or arithmetic, calculations. The ancient rishis so long ago put down all the rules for making the calendar, the Vedic calendar. Even till today, people use the same rules to calculate the position of the planets, and they make the calendar using those same rules, and they are so accurate to this day. For thousands of years this has been going on. So calculating, okay, today where is the sun going to be, where is the moon, behind Mars what is the constellation, what are the stars that are going to be there, what is the position of the planets in the sky. Calculating this is the first aspect of Jyotish. Today we harness or we utilize the power of computers, and there are so many programs, there are so many ways to calculate all these things fairly accurately. The second aspect of Jyotish is predictions, or looking at the position of the stars and saying, how is it going to affect my life? Time has an impact on everyone's life. There are different cycles. For example, most of us wake up in the morning and most of us sleep at night. Some people do differently, but that is a different matter. But if you look at the human consciousness, the mind, it has a certain cycle. You feel awake for some time, you feel sleepy for some time. Similarly, there are longer cycles. For example, there is a cycle of the seasons. When summer comes in, then your body behaves differently. When winter sets in, your body behaves differently. Then there is an annual cycle. As we age, when we are children, we behave differently. As we become older, we behave differently. So many different cycles of time have an impact on our life. Analyzing this impact of time on our life is the second aspect of Jyotish. Now you might ask, well, really, how is it possible? All the stars are the same. How can they have different impact on different people? For example, if you in physics in school, we might have studied this phenomenon or made these calculations in physics. You take a ball and you throw it, and then you calculate where it is going to land. When you know the starting position and the starting velocity, initial position and velocity, then you can calculate where it is going to fall. If you play cricket, then you know when you are going to throw the ball, well, I need to put so much force, so it goes towards the target. Similarly, when we find out when we came to this planet, when we were born and where we were born, it is theoretically possible to calculate what is going to happen in our life. But the calculations are so complicated that a whole life will get over before you calculate what is going to happen the next day. So what our ancient rishis did, they said, well, approximately we can calculate the impact. So in this way, the impact of Jyotish is calculated in the second part of Jyotish. The first part is the calculations, the second is predictions. But Jyotish is not fatalistic. It does not say, oh, you are going to, this is going to happen in your life and you cannot do anything about it. No, no. The third aspect of Jyotish says there is an upaya or there is a solution. You can change the impact of time. The situation that we are in gets created because of the time, but what we do with it is still in our hands. We still have some free will. Someone asked Guruji this question, what is free will and what is destiny? And Guruji said, your height is your destiny, but your weight is your free will. If you go to Vishala and eat lots of chocolate cake, then something will happen with your free will. So the third aspect of Jyotish is the upaya, or what can you do to change the impact of time. And this is most fascinating. Time impacts the mind, and the state of the mind determines the quality of our life. So if we can change the state of our mind, then the impact of time also gets changed. The ancient rishis knew this, and so they said, do some japa, do some meditation, do some sadhana, do some seva. All the factors that impact the mind, they used all these factors to make a change. So the third aspect of Jyotish, the upaya, allows us to change the impact of time. For example, if you are going in the traffic and the road is blocked, you look at the GPS and say, well, there is an alternative route, and if I go from here, I can save 10 minutes. And then you take that route. In the same way, in our life, sometimes things seem to get blocked. At that time, if we have the GPS and get to know the alternative routes, then life can keep moving on. The traffic keeps moving on. So Jyotish gives us a vision, an idea of how life can become more simpler, more easier. Now, there are some good people, some good Jyotish, some not so good Jyotish. So what is it that makes these predictions happen? That's where spiritual practice makes a big difference. If you look at the permutations and combinations of 9 grahas in 12 houses in 360 degrees, and then in the various divisions and Navamsha and all these things, you will find there are millions of combinations. So to get an idea what combination is really making a bigger impact requires intuition. And that's why when you practice Jyotish, if you're also meditating, then your upayas, your predictions, your understanding of time becomes deeper. In fact, when we are doing sadhana, when we are doing meditation, many of us have had this experience. You have taken a certain decision and later on you found out this was the best decision you could have ever taken. When we meditate, then in a certain sense, we align ourselves with the universe. And that is yoga. Yoga is this union between the individual and the cosmic consciousness. And so, when we meditate, then naturally our life flows according to these upayas or these ways to make the time really work for us much better. Ask anyone who invests in the stock market. If you invest at the right time, then you make a profit. The same money, if you invest at the wrong time, you will actually end up losing whatever you have. The same action, but the right timing is what is most important. In the same way, you might have been wanting to do something, but if you get the timing right, then you get the maximum out of it. And when we are spiritual, when we meditate, then we are able to intuitively get to the right thing at the right time. Oh, but I never learned Jyotish. How can I benefit? Seems like a very difficult thing. You don't need to be a doctor to take medicines. You can definitely go to a good doctor and take what is prescribed. In the same way, once you know the reason why Jyotish works, the philosophy, the principle behind it, you can always consult with a person who has spent a lifetime in Jyotish and get the benefit of those readings. Yet at the same time, know for sure that the consciousness is supreme. All of these things have an impact on the mind, but there are many other things also that impact the mind. And therefore, chanting and meditation is often considered the best upaya or the best way to nullify or improve the impact of time in our life. I have often heard Guruji say in satsang that Om Namah Shivaya will take care of everything related to Jyotish. So just relax. At the same time, it's good to have an idea, okay, these are the possibilities that are there in life. So neither getting caught up in Jyotish nor discarding it totally, but moving through the middle path. This is the way that life gets really uplifted. And know for sure there is something that has the veto power over all of this, and that is the Guru. So when we are on the path, on the spiritual path with the Guru, then things get taken care of. There is a story. Everyone likes good stories. Once upon a time, this is the time you're supposed to smile. Long, long ago, far, far away, there was a king, and this king was about to go to battle. There was a war, and he was going to go and fight with his army. He went to his Jyotish and said, well, tell me what the future is like. Am I going to win the war? What should I do? The Jyotish, he put the charts, did the calculations, and then he said, well, O king, whatever calculations I do, it just says one thing. Today an arrow is going to hit you and is going to go through you. You have no chance. Whatever you do, this is going to happen to you. Do not go and fight. But the king said, well, if I do not fight, we are sure to lose the war. People will get demoralized. So he went to his Guru. He said, well, the Jyotish, the astrologer has said this. Please help me, please tell me what to do. You are my Guru. So the Guru said, don't worry, Vijayi Bhava, go be victorious. And the king was happy. He went, fought the battle, and an arrow did come, and the arrow went through, but it went through the crown that was on the king's head, and nothing happened to the king. So it is said that when you have a Guru, the events that are going to happen will still happen, but it leaves you unaffected. And so it's great to have Jyotish, but it's even wonderful to have a Guru. And so we are all so lucky that we are on this spiritual path and have a Guru to take care of us. Great. Any questions, Ajit?
So, one question is, how do planets so far away affect my life?
How do planets so far away affect my life? The planets represent the impact of various cycles of time on our life. They are called Navagraha in Sanskrit. Graha means that which upholds, that which holds. So Navagraha literally means the 9 things that uphold time. If I want to measure time, how do I measure it? I see the watch hand and it goes round, and I say, when it completes one round, well, it's 1 hour. If the hour hand goes one round, I say that's 12 hours. We measure time by looking at movement. And if you look at what is it that moves in the sky, all the stars seem to be stationary, but there are some objects visible in the sky which are moving. And therefore, these objects are taken to calculate time. Now, on your watch, you have a second hand which goes pretty fast, and you have a minute hand that goes a little slower, and there's an hour hand that goes even slower. So the hour hand tells you the hours, the minute hand the minutes, and so on. Similarly, there are grahas that go fast, a little slower, and some very slow. For example, the moon, which is an object in the sky, which moves, it takes 1 month approximately to complete one full circle, comes back to the same spot that it started at. The Jupiter, for example, takes 12 years to complete one full circle. Saturn takes even longer. So different cycles of time impact our life differently. And to measure all of these, the 9 grahas are taken. That's why the sun, moon, and the planets are all clubbed together with one word, which is graha, because they are all moving in the sky. Many people ask, why is the moon, which is a satellite, Mars and Venus, which are planets, and sun, which is a star, why are they all clubbed together in this fashion? Well, if you look at the night sky, everything else is stationary, only these objects move. And since they are moving, they represent time. And Navagraha simply represents the impact of time on our life. Now, if I say it's 6 o'clock right now, maybe someone watching from Europe will say, hey, no, it's not 6 o'clock, it's afternoon. Someone watching from the US or Latin America would probably say, hey, it's early morning. So if I look at it, time is calculated differently in different parts of the world. If we just look at the sunrise. But if I look from here and look at the moon and look at what is the star that's behind the moon, whether I look from India or whether I look from Argentina, Well, it is going to be the same star behind the moon because it is so far away. So, if we want a measure of time that does not depend on the place from which we are measuring, these celestial bodies are considered, which gives us a very clear measure of time which does not depend on this on the place, and hence it makes it much more accurate. So, there are lots of things in Jyotish which are so fascinating. It takes a lot of study to appreciate all these things, but this is the whole idea that the grahas represent time, and time definitely impacts our life. So, we use that to measure the impact of time on our life. Next question, Sajid.
So the next question, Kashmir, is can I get married if my kundli does not match with my partner?
As long as your mind matches, definitely. As long as both of you are spiritual, definitely. There is definitely some impact of the horoscope, yet there is always an upaya. So, you should check with your Jyotish to see, well, is there something that is totally out of compatibility? Am I really compatible? We look at various aspects when doing the matchmaking. Well, you should actually come to a astrologer and sit with them, and you will find it so scientific, it's so interesting the way matches are made. At the same time, when you are spiritual, when you are doing some spiritual practices, you rise a level above, and so everything is possible. So, there are people who have never matched their Jyotish charts and are happily married, and there are people who have matched Jyotish charts but are unhappily unmarried. So, all possibilities exist, yet if you can get some of these things, and if you put your faith on all these things, it definitely makes a big difference in your life. Next question.
Arti Joshi from Australia is asking, should we still follow the Vedic ritual suggested by Vedic astrology even though we have Guruji in our life?
Of course. It's like saying, well, I have learned pranayam, should I still breathe? Well, of course you should breathe, keeps you alive. I have rice and dal, should I still eat chocolate cake? Of course. So, there are lots of things you should do in life, and there are lots of things you should continue doing in life. But knowing what to do and what not to do, this is Viveka. Now, don't stretch this example too far and say, well, I am going to drink a little bit of wine and this and that. No. Knowing what is good for you and knowing what is not good for you, this is what comes with spiritual practice, and this is what comes with having a guru. In fact, if you look at Guruji, every Monday he does the Rudra Puja, he does the Navratri Pujas, he follows all the norms. Why? So that he sets a great example for us to follow. He does his morning sadhana, though he does not need to do it, just so that we continue to do it. So, if you ever come to Bangalore ashram, a lot of times you will see him walking into the sadhana, and then we all do sadhana with him, and it's so amazing. If you are already feeling jealous, that was the whole point of saying this thing. So, come to Bangalore ashram ASAP.
Another question, Kashmir, is what is Muhurta and how is it important at the time of starting any project?
Muhurta is the right time to start anything. You know, have you ever seen the when you're those in the fairs, you have that disc that's rotating, and you have to use a dart to hit the right spot. if your timing is perfect, then you get the maximum points. It's the same disk, it's going round and round, you just need to get your timing right. In the same way, life keeps throwing chances at us. Or for example, if you're driving on the highway, if you get your exit right, then you reach the fastest. If you miss an exit, then you have to go forward, take a U-turn, come back and do lots of things to get back to where you want to go. So Jyotish or Muhurta, which means getting the timing right, is knowing the right time to do the right thing. It's like you're driving on the highway and you know exactly which exit you want to get out of, and that will take you to your goal. If you miss the exit, you will still reach your goal, but it's just going to go a little more difficult. In the same way, if you know the right time to do the right thing, then it makes life much more easier. And that's why getting a Jyotish consultation before doing something important in your life can make a great difference.
Himanshu is asking, I am interested in reading about astrology and other ancient Indian sciences. Is there any beginner's level book or course which you can recommend, please?
It's called the Art of Living Happiness program. It gives you all the tools to get your timing right, and it has all the components like 3-stage pranayam, bhastrika. The real essence of Jyotish is getting in touch with reality, or what is. Aligning myself with the universe is Jyotish. And that happens when you do Sudarshan Kriya naturally. So, of course, you can learn all about Jyotish. There are you can come to the Bangalore ashram, and we are going to be starting these Jyotish sessions very soon, and you can learn it formally as a subject. If you can keep pestering the ashram events team, then they'll start that also very soon. So we can have some online courses on Jyotish where you at least get to know the basics, and then you can start building on that yourself. A major component of Jyotish learning is practice. As you examine more and more horoscopes, intuitively you start recognizing these combinations. So learning the basics takes a little time, but then getting to intuitively know Jyotish takes a long time. So if you're interested, definitely you can do it.
Ashivya, there was a question about Vedic wisdom and Upanayana, and the second part of the question is related to Upanayana. So Vaishnavi is asking, what is the difference between Vedic wisdom and Upanayana? And the second part of the question is, how does Upanayana affect our astrology?
Upanayan literally means sitting close. Sitting close to yourself, going closer to the universal consciousness that we are. And so during the Upanayan, we get introduced to a mantra which opens the doors to a subtle world. You know, the fan is moving, but it's the electricity inside the fan that makes it move. All my eyes can see is the fan moving. It does not see the electricity inside. But the real thing that makes the fan move is the electricity. In the same way, my hand lifts up, but the real thing that makes my hand lift up is the prana, the life inside. The Upanayana opens up this doorway to the subtle world. You can open the door, but if you want to go inside and explore all the various parts of the room, that's Vedic wisdom. So Upanayana opens the door and Vedic wisdom allows you to go inside and explore the room.
One of the people is asking, what is the significance of Rahu Brihaspati Sandhi phase in one's birth chart? What are its effects and what and how should one conduct oneself during this time to save the ill effects?
Well, if you look at, if you say what is the impact of this planet and this planet, you cannot take it in isolation. You need to look at your whole chart and see what is the overall impact on your life. So, of course, a certain yoga will have a certain impact. A certain combination of planets will have a certain impact. But maybe there are other combinations of planets which are changing that impact. In fact, in Jyotish, there is one very beautiful saying, Kin kurvanti griha sarve yatra kendre brihaspati, which means, what will all the planets do for one who has Guru in the center? So, really speaking, the purpose of Jyotish is not to create fear inside, saying, oh, this planet will sit there and judge you and give you this problem. No. Do you think Jupiter as a planet has no other job than to go into people's life and create problems? No. The planet is very happy moving around in space and it's free. Yet, this impact of time can be analyzed and it can give us certain guidance. But we don't need to get afraid of any combination of planets. Know that for all these combinations, having Guru in the center is more than enough to take care of it. So just relax, or as they say in Russian, prosta rasklaptis. So on this happy note, knowing that you are fully taken care of, that no time can do anything to you who are beyond time, meditate, be happy, be joyful, and get insight into life using the tools of Jyotish. Balancing both these aspects, this enables life to move forward. So, lots and lots of good wishes. May Guruji's blessing shower upon all of us and take us through this journey called life, and let's all reach the goal, whatever that is, whether it's spiritual or material. And may we uplift ourselves and the whole of humanity. May this world be a wonderful place for all of us to live in. Jai Gurudev.